All right, welcome back. We are gonna check out the LA Path of Exile 2 presentation for the streamer event, and we're gonna see if there is something new in this video that we haven't yet seen, and we're gonna check if we can find maybe some kind of secrets or something that hasn't really been spotted yet. But yeah, we'll take it one step at a time. This is gonna be a long one, so strap in because this is an hour and a half. This presentation, and we're gonna go through all of it. And yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it there. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more, and if you want to check out the PoE2 journey we are gonna go on. Um, yeah, and let me not hold it back anymore and just get started with this. So let's see.
What we're going to do here is we're going to go through the character classes that you're going to be playing in early access. And while we're doing that, we're going to explain the different ways that you have to develop your character.
Oh, I did not mean
Now,
to.
as I said before, I like to keep things pretty casual. This isn't some kind of
Okay.
hyper-polished presentation. And Octavian, who's playing, is going to be using cheats and so on. So, you know, he might have to
Oh.
die and revive, but hopefully it goes
Ban
okay.
him!
So we're going to start
Get
with
him out of here! He's using cheats! He's using cheats! Are you gonna send commercials every fucking 5 minutes here? Because that's gonna be an issue.
So the monk is a fast melee fighter. He cares a lot about momentum in combat. Now he does a lot of damage, but he isn't necessarily
Wow,
that
the
strong
ability
physically.
just looks
In terms of
phenomenal. I love the
defenses.
way everything
So, you're gonna
shatters
wanna
and the
stay
way
back
it's like
and, you know, go
it's
into and
slowly
out of
melting
combat
the
very
ice on
quickly.
the ground. Bro,
Now, like
it's
all
just
classes,
fantastic.
the monk was going to want to mix and match a few different combos. And one of the things we really like to do with our skills is make sure that we've got a lot of things that can take advantage of different situations. In this particular case, Octavian is freezing monsters with this wave of frost, and then he's using glacial cascade to kill them if he hits the thing. If the end of the glacial cascade hits the monster and it's frozen, then it will do a AoE damage and do a lot of damage. Now, the monk also has a lot of combo skills. An example, so if you hit monsters using regular attacks, then you'll charge those skills up. An example of this is Tempest Bell. So here we're going to create a
how
bell,
the staff
and
is
then
like
if you hit the
frozen,
bell, we'll do
looks
damage
cool
around
as
it.
shit.
You can also add status ailments to the bell. So, for example, you could freeze it like he was doing there, which will add cold damage. But you could also set it on fire or shock it and this kind of thing. So that's sort of just like a really quick rundown of the kind of skills you can expect on the monk. But how do you get skills in the first place? Well, the answer to that is skill gems. So the way that you get skill gems are items that you can find in the world, and if you right-click on one, you can choose what skill you want to get. Now, we're trying to keep the skill system feeling as much as possible simple for new players. There's two things you can do here. You can
See, that's the thing, right? You can make stuff feel easy, yet make it extremely deep and have like a bottomless pit in order to satisfy the more grindy hardcore community, without sacrificing your casual players. And I feel like the whole Diablo 3 and Diablo 4 situation, they completely sacrificed every person who had any type of grind in him or had any type of yeah, like it's just weird to me that you have like a company feels like they have to sacrifice somebody in order to make a game. Like, I feel like you can cater not to everybody, but you can cater at least to two groups, right? Like, you can cater to the hardcore community and you can cater to the casual community. Ain't nobody saying you have to cater to everybody, but I'm just saying, like, you can do something like that if you're smart, because then you aren't losing the core fan base who's going to stick with the game for 10 years until you're done developing the next game in the line. If you lose those people, it'll become a problem later down the line, because all the casual players will play up until the point where they find the game boring and then they won't ever touch it again. So for a lot of these more casual players, stuff like Diablo 4, yeah, it's fine right now, but 3 years from now, I don't think a lot of people will still be playing it because it just doesn't have enough to offer. It's kind of like a Diablo 3, where let me see if I can. Well, I can name a season off the top of my head. It was Ethereals, it was called, which is the only season that really stands out to me, and the only reason that season stands out to me in my head, is because it was themed around Diablo 2, um, which were using specific Diablo 2 weapons, reworked them, put them into Diablo 3, and then let us play with them. And they were, of course, very, very powerful. And the thing was that when they did that, they kind of proved the point that they could have done that from the beginning and took a lot of the Diablo 2 themed stuff and then recrafted it into something new that would be equally as interesting almost. I wouldn't say it's equally as interesting, but it was really interesting. It wasn't super, super boring. So that one season is the only season I can like name fully off the top of my head, just because I did enjoy it a lot. It was like season 20 something. I can't remember. It's like, I want to say it was like 25 or something. And I played like the first 3 or 4 seasons, and then I kind of like fell off. I played a couple of seasons after that, but not really. Like I only played a little bit, right? So, yeah.
Either level up an existing skill or you can pick a new one, and that kind of interface is quite familiar. We have added things like tutorial videos for every skill.
Frozen locusts will explode when attacked by you or your enemies.
But
Nice.
effectively, we just want to make sure we're keeping this simple as possible. Now, what you do once you've got a skill gem is put it into your skill screen, and once you've done that, you can bind it and use it. This particular skill is called Frozen Locust, that creates a little ice ball there, and then you can detonate that with your Glacial Cascade if you want, since it counts as a frozen object. Or the monsters can attack it and explode it that way, or you could use it in front of a boss who's about to slam and explode it that way.
Wow.
So that's a sort of
Options,
basic rundown
man.
on how you get skills, but it's worth mentioning that you can also use skills across other classes as well. So what we saw there was just the skills for this one class. If we open up the screen again, you can see that the skills for the other classes are still available. If you have the stats to use them, you can use them just as well. And then there's lots of different interesting combinations you can use across classes too.
Wait. I wonder what Primal is. What the fuck is that? Is that like marks or something? And then occult would be curses? Flail? I don't feel like we've seen the flail yet either. That is cool.
So that's just a quick rundown on what you can expect for the monk. Now we're
Wait,
going to move on to the
wait.
sorcerer.
Is it just me, or is it
Sorceress.
on colorblind?
So the sorceress
mode?
is our primary elemental spellcaster. She's going to attack mostly from range. She has high damage but low survivability. The area we're entering here is in Act 3 called the Forge. This is an area like an ancient Vaal.
I swear, this is kind of, when you're looking at the coins down here in the corner, this has a little bit of the color blind theme color to it. So I personally play with the colorblind filter on Diablo 2, because if you grab a specific filter that has like that it basically enhances the colors in a slightly pink way, and if you then tune it down quite a bit, it actually enhances everything in terms of fire and like glowy things, and like it just enhances the visuals of the game a lot. So I like to play on that mode, but that's like a pink color theme mode. This looks like the green version of that, where you have like I don't know, excuse me for not knowing this because I'm not colorblind, so I don't actually know what the different things are called, but there's like, I know there's certain color themes that'll be used when you're colorblind to basically see a difference between two colors that you wouldn't normally be able to see. But yeah, so it definitely for me kind of looks like that. I'm not sure if that's the deal here. It just slightly has that weirdly greenish, grayish shine to it.
Forge, where they were making various, forging various gold things. So she's using a combination of lightning and fire here. Once again, there's
This
lots of
looks a
additional
little bit
combos
like the
that we
temple.
want to do, but one of the things that
We're
I'd really
getting
like to kind of
temple
show
vibes
you
here from
to get a
Alva.
taste for one of the other character development areas we have in PoE2 is support gems. So support gems are, in PoE2, you get them by finding an uncut support. And when you open this by default, what you're going to see is just a few recommendations. If you go through the different skills that you have on the left, there's different recommended skill gems for each skill that you have. So what we're trying to do is just make sure that for new players, it's very easy for them to pick something that's just going to work. In this case, what we might do for Spark is pick Pierce. The reason why that's good is because Spark is a skill that creates a lot of projectiles that run around the ground and then bounce off walls. If we're able to pierce through monsters, it means that they can bounce off a wall and potentially hit a monster again. So that can make it a lot more powerful when you are filling up areas with things like that.
Oh yeah.
We're going to try and relight up the forge here in order to be able to get to the boss. So that's what.
No way.
So one of the other things that we might want to.
Bro, it looks so cool. What the fuck? This looks stupid cool. Even the pouring of the lava looks fucking fire. Like the way it pours out in the, and then just slowly like moves along. Bro, that looks phenomenal.
Multiple projectiles for one of our skills.
Wow.
So for example, we've got Fireball. If you fire it without multiple projectiles, you
Bro,
get a single Fireball that explodes.
Exceptional.
Throw multiple projectiles on there, and obviously it does what you might expect. You get multiple Fireballs.
Oh
So,
yeah.
one of the things that's important is that you can actually move these support gems around between skills. For example, if we took the multiple projectiles and instead we put it on, I don't know, this ice. I think you've got an ice skill somewhere, Frostbolt. Then you'd be able to make that into multiple projectiles instead. So effectively, this is the way another area of character progression that you can use.
Ice Nova Frostbolt confirmed.
So you want to? I think there was another one as well. Actually, yeah, Firewall. Let's try Firewall. So Firewall is a skill that allows you to create a wall of fire. If you fire projectiles through that, it's going to add fire to the lightning projectiles that we fire through. So that is quite a nice little combo there as well. But if we want, there's another skill, a support gem.
Ignited Ice Bolt.
If you throw that on any skill that creates a wall, was that the one? Yep. Then when you cast it, it's going to make a circle, which you can either put around you or around the monster. So that means you can cast that and then fire in all directions afterwards. So it can add a little bit of power. It might be a little bit easier in this area as well when you've got tight quarters.
Oh, that's brilliant. Actually, I'm starting to think a little bit that it might actually be worth keeping a separate set of skill gems in your inventory to swap out for certain situations. So let's say you're spec'd in as a fire build, or like a fire lightning build, and you have a set of extra jewels or gems with extra attacks just in case you need AoE, or if you need single target damage, you can just quickly swap between those gems. I'm starting to feel like that might be a thing that we want to kind of look into and do.
All right. Now the next thing we're going to show is the warrior. So the warrior is our kind of big tanky melee class. Unlike the monk, he's a lot slower, but he hits a lot harder. He's just going to change the
That looks
WSD,
hella like the green.
Right, so here's the warrior. Now, at the moment, he's using a two-hand weapon, so he's going to be hitting very slow, but very hard. But there's also something else you can do as well in PoE2, which we didn't have in PoE1, which is that if you switch to a shield and a one-hand item, then you've also got active block. So this is something that actually comes in handy. It's not so useful for just regular trash monsters unless they've got some special ability, but it can be quite nice against bosses. So let's have a quick look at that. So this is a big boss here, and the thing with bosses, they have large telegraphed attacks. So if you use active block here, you can use that to avoid all damage from the front, which is quite nice.
Wow.
There are attacks that have a little red flash that you can't block, but for the most part you can.
Oh, he's using a flare right now.
I need more time.
Oh no? No, it's a maze. Okay. Yeah, that's a maze. One theme I have paid attention to is the arenas for the boss fights are slightly smaller than in PoE1, or at least some of them. It just seems like they're a little bit more tight, a little less room to move around, and a little bit less room for mistakes here. and a little bit more concentrated and less cheesy, you could say, because you definitely can cheese the bosses on PoE1. This looks a little bit more like something that's not possible to cheese a whole lot.
I need more time.
Now, one of the key areas that we haven't talked about yet in Path of Exile in terms of character customization is, of course, the passive tree. So Path of Exile is really well known for having a giant passive tree. There's 1,500 nodes in the passive tree, and all the classes use the same tree. However, they start in different locations. So the warrior, for example, starts on the bottom left side here, and because of the fact he starts there, he gets access to a lot more of the melee-focused elements on the tree. Now, to quickly explain how the passive tree works, there are a few different types of nodes here.
Wait, okay, so I'm starting to think another thing a little bit. We like in PoE1, you could look at the skill tree as divided into 3 categories. You had your intelligence on top, you had your strength on the side here on the left side, and you had your dexterity on the right side, right? Maybe at this time we have like sections, right? So like let's say if we take like a line from here and we go down here, and then we follow this one all the way down, and we do the same thing right here, follow this all the way out. It's almost like you have a pizza slice here that's connected to him, right? Maybe, just maybe, these slices is themed around a certain play style. Right, so as you said, this is like most of the melee nodes. I could see that being the situation where they're like slicing it up like that, and then you have different themes, and you want to kind of like stick to, for the most part, the theme that fits your build, right, or a character, and then only move outside of this.
The smallest.
Only move outside of this area if you're like trying to go in a different direction with the build. So let's say you're going the spell direction. Maybe you want to go kind of like down, or like you go up here, this way, this way, this way, and around here, and then you get up to the top part with the witchware or something like that, right? Yeah, I could see that being the situation here, but it's really hard to determine because I haven't had any chance to really look at the skill tree.
Nodes,
So this is all
just like minor
speculations.
nodes, and they'll give very simple increases, like for example, you've just got melee damage here and that kind of thing. But the thing you're probably going to want to go for are called notables. Notables are the very slightly larger nodes, and they have much more interesting effects. They're often going to depend a little bit on what kind of build you're doing. For example, this one here is 20% more damage against heavy stunned enemies with maces. This is something you're obviously only going to care about if you're heavy stunning enemies a lot, and of course using maces.
Of course.
So a lot, these notables are the things that are really going to define your character, and the list of notables is really when it comes to making build guides and things. Is this is what really matters. And in PoE2, I've really tried to push the fact that notables are a lot more interesting, so there's a lot more stuff going on with them.
Hell yeah.
But as well as notables, there's also other big nodes on the tree called keystones. And keystones are unique because they have both upsides and downsides. So an example of one right here is called Giant's Blood. It says you can wield 2-hand axes, maces, and swords in one hand, but you get double attribute requirements
in
of weapons.
life.
So effectively, if you want to use a giant 2-hand sword, but you still want to use a shield, you've got a way to do that. You just have to meet the attribute requirements to do it.
This was awesome in Diablo 2 when you're a barbarian being the only class that could dual wield 2-handed weapons, and that made for some very interesting situations. I really like that.
Which could be tricky for in-game bases. There's also other keystones, a few examples from other classes. There's one here that is, from PoE1. Maximum life becomes 1, but you're immune to chaos damage.
Oh.
Since chaos damage...
We just made it first. I just made my first CI build on Path of Exile 1, which were the Young's and Ben's Trickster build for the Power Siphon into Lightning Strike. So this is actually kind of a sick setup. I really like this one. Being immune to chaos is kind of awesome because there is a lot of painful chaos damage around the maps. So I've actually become quite a big fan of this. It also makes it to where you don't need to wear any chaos gear, so that's super useful. You're saving a lot of random resist mods, so for that reason you're basically able to put a lot more damage on them.
Does double damage to energy shield. This is something that you might want to use. Once you've got that, you don't have to worry about chaos damage anymore. You just need to build for energy shield and not life. Or another example of one that's been modified from PoE1 is Mind Over Matter. All damage is taken from mana before life.
I might play that. I honestly might play that. Just stack recovery rate and mana like a motherfucker, and then basically CI, right? I think that could be a very powerful build. That could be very useful.
Life, but you have 50% less mana recovery rate. If you're going to build for this, it means you don't have to worry about life once again, but you will have to build a huge amount of mana pool in order to sustain that. So these are the kind of things that you can pick from keystones that, as I said, have upsides and downsides and interesting trade-offs. Now, there is one other mechanic as well that I want to quickly talk about. So if you go back to the character and just have a look, Octavian was manually switching between, if you go back to the character and see, so Octavian was manually switching between one-hand and two-handed weapon sets. He was just pushing X to do that. When he's using both sets, there are things on the passive tree that you might want to be able to use for one or the other. So another unique feature for PoE2 on the passive tree is the ability to split passives in two in order to allocate one for one set and another set for the other. So if we allocate ones in red here, these passives will only be used when you've got a two-hand weapon. And if you allocate passives in green using the other one here, these passives will only be allocated when you're holding the other weapon set, when he's using his weapon.
I love that fact. Oh my
so
god,
if you press the weapon swap button now, it'll switch from one set to the other.
Okay, so I actually, for a second, I thought that you would only get us X amount of points and you had to make the choice if you wanted to do this, but I can tell now that if you have 6 points, then you're getting 6 points in each set, basically. So you're really able to kind of craft 2 trees in one. That's insane.
That he can effectively dynamically adjust his passives based on what weapon sets he wants to use. But the other thing as well is in order to make it a lot easier for you to be able to use different passives in your, different passives and different weapons for different skills, we also have the ability to pick for a given skill which weapon set you want to use.
Pause. Let's just look at this. Stampede. Charge forward, cracking the earth, leaving a patch of jagged ground. With every footstep, at the end of your charge, a massive leaping slam damages enemies and causing all patches of jagged ground to erupt in aftershocks. That sounds really cool. I hope... So, there is a common problem with PoE1 and Diablo 2, which is the character screen, where you can see all your damage numbers and resist numbers and all this stuff. It's very, how do I say, so in Diablo 2 we usually call it the lying screen because it always lies to you. It's never actually the right damages it's showing. It's never showing. The only thing you can really trust is the resistances. That part is at least showing right, but there's a bunch of stuff that it's really just not showing correctly, right? And there is somewhat of the similar problem with PoE1 where it doesn't really show you the correct numbers, like 100% correct numbers, right? That's why we use POB path building to basically you set up everything in there to kind of like give you the exact numbers of everything. I really hope that they kind of fix that with this information tree or like information tab, that you're actually gaining the 100% correct numbers here.
So for example, the Stampede skill here, if you've got a shield, then when you use the skill, it will...
Oh, it says used with weapon set 1 or 2. Wow. Wow.
Coil
Shit.
will be blocking the entire time if you just demonstrate that quickly. So if you use a Stampede, because you hold your shield in front of you, you're blocking the entire time you're charging. And using the one-hand weapon will also be a lot faster because it's got higher attack speed. So that's something we'd much rather use with our one-hand weapon. But when, for example, we're doing our Earthquake or our Double Slam, this is something that we probably only want to use with our two-hand weapon because we want to do the most damage. So that means we can turn it off with the other weapon set. And now when you use your two-hand, now when you use that, it'll switch to your two-hand weapon automatically.
Oh
So
my
this
god, that's
allows
brilliant. You don't even have to press a
multiple weapon
button.
sets and do a lot of different things. It's also very good for, for example, on the sorceress earlier, she was using lightning and fire. She can have two different staffs, one that's geared for one that's...
I had just paid attention to this. It says Gargantium Mana Flask. I remember the Gargantium build from Diablo 3, like the Angry Chicken build. I used to play that quite a bit. That is actually kind of crazy, okay.
Geared for the other, as well as spec a passive tree out as well. So that's another character development feature that we have in PoE2. Next up, we want to talk about the Ranger. So the Ranger is our primary bow cast, bow user, and she's all about range and mobility. So one of the first things we did when we were developing the Ranger is we wanted to make sure that everything you do can be done while moving. So this just makes the game feel a lot more fluid. So she's just a lot more mobile even from that. But she also has a lot of vaulting skills that allow her to jump up. For example, there's one there that freezes monsters. She jumps up and she can jump over monsters and freeze them. So this kind of thing allows you to, as I said, feel a lot more mobile in combat. Make sure you can get away from the monsters, which you need to do since, she isn't necessarily the most tanky character. Now, one of the things you might have noticed if you're a PoE1 player is the bottom left of the screen there's only two flasks, just a life and a mana flask. We've actually changed how the flask system works in PoE2 very recently. Now you get one life and one mana flask, and that's all. And the reason we actually did that is we found that there was a problem in PoE1 called Flask Piano, where everyone was just sitting there pressing 1, 2, 3, 5 constantly, flasking. The thing is, we've actually buffed flasks significantly so that each flask has a lot more charges, but you only get one of each type. Now, one of the main things that people were doing in PoE1 when they were using flasks is they were using the other flask slots for mostly things that were making them resistant to various element types and so on. And so we wanted to have a system to allow that to still be the case and still have interesting character customization there. So we've added a new type of item called Charms. Charms charge up using flask charges, so as you kill monsters, but they automatically trigger in order to grant you immunity to certain things at the point when you get those things. So for example here, this is used when you become ignited and then grants immunity to ignite. So if you're having trouble with fire damage, then you can throw that on there. If you get ignited, it'll automatically quench you, and then it will charge up again from killing monsters. Now there are lots of different charms that have different abilities. They trigger on different things. They they make you resistant to different things. They can also get mods, from crafting and so on. So you can make them an interesting part of your build. But the point is, they're always automatic. You don't have to manually trigger them. So it kind of solves that problem of having to manually use flasks constantly. You get the ability to use more charms by getting higher level belts. This is relatively lower level, so you've only got one charm slot there. As you get higher level belts, you get more slots up to 3, and there might even be some uniques that lead to more charms later on as well, of course.
Hashtag Mistbud. Get 4 charms, always active, no charges. Ooh. Would be sick.
Now, one of the other things that we wanted to upgrade as well is that we found, so in PoE2 there's a huge amount of encounters and bosses. There are actually 50 bosses in early access. There's going to be 100 in the final game. One of the things we've changed is we've upgraded the map to actually allow you to see
and let me just remind you, this is 100 bosses. It's not 140 dungeons with 4 different bosses inside. It's actually like, this is going to be 100 bosses with different mechanics and different attacks and damages, and like, just if they're doing anything like PoE1, it's not going to be super similar. There'll be certain things that are similar, sure, but it's not going to be Control-C, Control-V through the whole thing, like copy, paste everything. So I'm looking forward to that.
Those on the map. So if you zoom in a little bit there, you can see that there's a bunch of bosses and random encounters around the area. Near to where Octavian is right now, you can see that there's a boss called Silver Blackfist, and that means that in this area there's something to find, a boss to encounter. So as I said, the bosses often have things that you can use to increase your character power as well. So it's important to kill them.
Oh, what a dodge. Ow. Damn. Oh. Oh, what a dodge. Damn. That fucking hurt. Holy. Don't get hit twice in a row with that.
This thing is strong.
I believe it. What a dodge, bro. My boy's over here being a pro. Golly.
Great creature.
So as you can see, he dropped a Book of Specialization there, and this is one of the items that allows you to do the split passive points in the passive tree, but it also gives you more passive points as well. So it's something that you're going to definitely want to find. Now there are other bosses around the game that have different bonuses and so on, so it's definitely a good idea to explore all the encounters throughout the game and find all of those things. So next we're going to talk about the Witch. And while we're showing the Witch, it's also a good time to talk about one of the other character progression systems in Path of Exile 2, which is Spirit. So the Witch is a primary summoner, but she also has a range of other supporting skills. But the thing we want to show you first is just the fact that she often, and in fact all the classes, use a resource called Spirit. So there's a new type of skill gem, an uncut Spirit gem, which you can use here, and that'll give you a bunch of these, another skill screen with a bunch more abilities. What these ones are is for giving you things that are kind of somewhere halfway between a passive bonus and an active one. This one here called
Wait. Let's see. Grim Feast. Minion persistence. Okay. Feed on corpses to bolster your energy shield while active. Enemies and minions that die in your presence will drop Grim Remnants. Okay. Picking up a Grim Remnant grants your energy shield and overflows your energy shield up to double its normal maximum. What? You can wow. That is kind of crazy.
for giving you things that are kind of somewhere halfway between a passive bonus and an active one.
Wow.
This one here called Grim Feast feeds on corpses to bolster your energy shield. But we've got lots of these for all classes. All classes can use them. For example, on Sorceress, here you've got Outer Armor. There's one here called Raging Spirits, which means that every time you use a fire skill, it summons a Raging Spirit. So you can, like as I said, it's somewhere between like an active and a passive. But for the minion characters in particular, they're going to want to get a lot of spirit because all minions are paid for with the same resource. So what we're going to do here is, in order to use spirit, effectively what you do is you go to the skill screen, and if you've got minions there, you can just click the little plus button, get some extra minions, and there you go. Now, these are permanent minions, which means that if they die, they're going to respawn again automatically. You don't have to spawn them constantly. And that means that, during boss fights and things like that, it makes it a lot easier. You don't have to worry about having to have corpses every time, that kind of thing. But we also do want to support large minion armies, and because of that, we also have minion skills that you can summon from corpses as well. So all these little scorpions here, those are summoned from corpses. While you're clearing, you'll get large armies. During boss fights, it'll be a little bit more focused using the minions, your permanent minions for the most part.
I'm so tempted to play
skills,
this.
A lot of things focusing on chaos damage. So he's got a skill called Contagion that'll spread between monsters and other things like Essence Drain and so on, like just a few other chaos damaging skills. Now the other thing with minions is that all the permanent minions come with extra abilities.
Rock
you can trigger
crabs?
manually. So you see those little markers on your minions. You can use those to explode your minions. So that's the Arsonists. It's their ability. They'll throw a little bomb and explode your minion. There's also other ones. For example, the snipers have the ability to create little gas clouds. And the more minions you have, the more often you can use those abilities. So effectively, it means that each minion also effectively serves as an extra skill as well as being a meat shield for you as well.
Wow. That is very, very thought out.
To the Witch. But now we're going to show off the Mercenary. Oh, actually, wait, no, we did miss something. Sorry about that. Right, so just one other quick thing I wanted to show you as well is that the Witch has a lot of other summoning options, even beyond just the ones that we've picked, because she also has things called Spectres. So basically, anytime you kill a monster on the ground, it can be turned into a Spectre. We've actually created one here from Act 1 called a Cultist Archer. They cost quite a bit of spirit, so we're going to unsummon a couple of the Arsonists and put this Cultist Archer in. Now the nice thing is that because lots of monsters in Path of Exile have different interesting abilities, all those abilities can be used by the summoner as well. So this one has the ability to summon these like purple polyp things that both slow monsters and add weakness to chaos damage as well. She's using it there with those little things that exploded there. Because those are going to make monsters weaker to chaos damage, it'll be a very good part of this build. It's not as many minions, but the nice thing is that it'll actually end up being more DPS, and I think for bosses it probably is better for this build than not. That's what these little polyp things are. All right, so moving on. Let's have a quick look at the Mercenary.
Super cool.
So the Mercenary is another ranged character, but this time using crossbows. Now the main difference between a crossbow and a bow is that crossbows fire instantly, and they also have an ammo mechanic where effectively, you fire until your clip is empty and then you have to reload. So it plays a lot more like an FPS. And we've got lots of type of FPS type weapons as well. I just changed to WASD here because this character plays a lot better in that way. So if you've got like
I might play this one,
shotgun
honestly.
type weapon,
I feel like it's
you've got a assault rifle type weapon.
It's between the Sorcerer, the Witch, and this.
And various other types. You've also got attached grenade launchers and things like sniper rifle type weapons and so on. Now, this plays very differently to the other classes, but I think it's really fun. It's just like a whole different sort of feeling of the game. This particular area is called Doyani's Sanctum. He's doing a lot of experiments on humans and is very interested in anatomy and kind of merging them with machines.
Totally giving me vibes of Alva's Temple here.
There's a pretty interesting chest on the wall there that I quite like. If you click on that one.
Cadaver.
So there's a cadaver on the wall and it like
Oh, he got... He just got lasered in half.
slices up and drops
wow.
some bones. So that's kind of fun. We actually originally just had half a person there, but it really just looked like an anatomy diagram, so we needed to do something to show the fact that it was actually a modeled human there. So that was fun.
That is crazy.
So So one of the other things we haven't even talked about, which is another really important character development system in Path of Exile, is of course items. So now, items in Path of Exile work like many other action RPGs, but I think that we do a particularly good job of having, interesting affixes and suffixes. If you have a look at the items on the character, they generate. We have normal, magic, rare, and uniques. Magic items can have up to 2 mods. Rare items can have up to 6. And effectively, each of the different slots has a pool of mods that's unique to it. But one of the other things that's sort of really important about PoE is crafting items. So here we have different crafting items that allow you to add affixes to items. If you use an Orb of Transmutation, it'll turn this magic item to a 1 mod magic. If you use an Orb of Augmentation, it'll add an extra mod to make it into a 2 mod magic. You've also got Regal Orbs that will turn it into a 3 mod rare, which is normally that I have 4, but if you do it this way, you get 3. And then you can use Exalted Orbs to add more mods than that to make up to 6 mods. Now, something in Path of Exile 2 that's very different than PoE 1 is that these currency items to add mods to items are much, much more common than they were before, and you're really going to be expected to use them throughout the campaign. It's like a really important element of player power. We've actually changed the way the scaling works in quite a lot of elements to kind of try and make it so that picking up like new blue items is going to actually be an interesting choice for you. Using Regals and Exalts on them are pretty interesting. And also you get Regals by disenchanting rares as well. So effectively you can...
Hold the horse! You can do it while it's equipped. He just used it on his boots and they were fucking equipped.
You get quite a lot of Regals in order to upgrade items to rares relatively easily. So now these crafting items, the other thing that's important about them is you can use them on any base type, not just items you can equip. They're used throughout the game for many different purposes, for the end game as well, and many other things. So
wait.
They're used throughout the game. So you can use them on any base type, not just... So now these crafting items, the other thing that's important about them is you can use them on any base type, not...
Removes a random modifier from an item, okay.
Just...
Upgrades normal item to a rare item with 4 modifiers, okay.
Items you can equip. They're used throughout the game for many different purposes.
I love the new
orb.
Well, looks like they look
you can use them on flasks and charms. There's all sorts of places where you can use them. So it's definitely something that you're going to want to master and play around with. Now, the other items, of course, that we have is lots and lots of unique items. There are hundreds of them in PoE2. There'll be hundreds and hundreds more as we go along. You know, some of them are pretty interesting. They all do things. They aren't just upgraded rares. They all do something kind of interesting. So, for example, here we have a boots called Corpse Wade. If you put that on there,
We saw those in the reveal.
It'll make them explode and turn into little puffs of green chaos damage there. That's not something you're going to get on a rare item. Another one here is called Sands of Silk. If you put this one on, what it's going to do is change your dodge roll into a teleport.
Oh, we saw that
to a
too.
blip that can blink through monsters. Once again, not something you get on a rare. But there's, you know, a few others here that are kind of interesting. Next one here is called Couture of Trims.
Reduces bleed by 48%. Ooh. Life leech can overflow maximum life. What?
It makes life leech overflow maximum life. So as you attack monsters, you can get like over health above your normal maximum if you're using life leech. Another one here, for example, pretty simple in some ways, is Quill Rain. This thing here just has ridiculous attack speed, if you but low damage. If you want to make an interesting bow build where you're just making, where you want to hit huge amounts of times, don't necessarily care about the damage dealt, Quill Rain is going to be something for you. Or another one here called the Wailing Wall. This
cannot use shield skills, can block damage from all hits. Wait, so you get what? Unkillable with a Oh, no. Okay, see, I get it now. You basically, if you're like raising your shield up in front of you and you're getting hit in your back, you're still not taking damage.
This one here disables shield skills, which makes you able to block damage from all hits without having to raise your shield. So effectively, if you want to
having to raise it,
block a lot of damage, but you don't care about being able to use other shield skills, this could be a good one. So all of these are what we call build enabling. They're interesting things that you might be able to build a character around, do something interesting with, and they're a big part of how the in-game, things that you can find at in-game, things that you're going to be sort of going throughout the game, things that might affect how your character is played.
This is how men are smelling better than women. It's called Dr. Squatch.
Yeah, right.
So.
Oh my god. That is Alba. If I've ever seen a character, I know this is her 100%. It has to be. That has to be her. I thought this would be temple themed as in incursions from PoE1. I had the feeling when we were walking, or when he was walking through the first area. Now I'm really convinced because I'm 99.9% sure that is Alba.
On the eve of the end, the demon of Atzoatl has finally come forth.
You're not seeing what's happening to her right now. But she's getting... what? Again, it's a very tight arena right now. Or not super tight, but like I mean, like it's not a big ass open space where you can just. Oh. Oh, he almost got lasered there.
The ends justify the means.
Ho, 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 ho.
Let's see how you handle this. I can't give up. Not now. The cataclysm must be stopped.
God damn, that looks cool as fuck, bro. This reminds me of Cortex a little bit. This is like a remote controlled Cortex. Or not remote, like he's controlling it. That's insane. Ooh, that's a slam attack, alright. Damn, that was like a fire and cold attack. Whoa. Damn.
Now, are within my grasp.
There's a little bit of that weapon that's hanging over his head reminds me a little bit of Transformers, where which one was that? The one where they have to get the pillars. It kind of looks like one of those pillars a little bit. That's cool as fuck though. Oh my god, the animations are insane. Oh. Wow, that's a big AoE attack. Holy moly. That almost took up the whole arena. Oh, this is not gonna be easy. Woo. What a shot. Whoa. I took a lot of his health real quick. This attack is kind of rough, man.
It should cost $1 billion to look that good. Take it all off. It's pure. All the pretty.
Can we get a couple more commercials? That would be awesome.
So far we've been showing you footage from the campaign. One of the really important things in any action RPG is the end game. Now, something that happens almost every time a new action RPG launches is people saying there isn't enough end game content. We really want to make sure that in PoE2 people don't feel that way. And it's something that we actually changed our priorities for as a studio relatively recently. Now, the first 3 acts of PoE2 take around 25
that's
hours to
100% Alda
complete.
right there.
This is already longer than many
100.
campaigns and other games. On the other hand, people spend hundreds of hours in endgame. We realized that finishing the rest of the campaign for early access instead of working on endgame would actually be a very bad idea. So instead of having acts 4 to 6 in early access, it's much better for us to concentrate on endgame and make that great. If you're a new player, a 25-hour campaign is already a huge game with plenty of content, but if you're an existing action RPG player, then what you're going to care about is the endgame challenges that you have to complete. If we'd launched with a double-length campaign and a bad endgame, we'd effectively have to say, hey, trust us, a good endgame is coming later. But if we launch with a 25-hour campaign and a great endgame, then people can easily understand what's coming when we say, oh, yeah, and there's 3 more acts coming really soon. Now, in early access, there are 50 bosses currently and around 400 monster types, but effectively the game is going to double in size during early access and to be 6 acts with 100 bosses and around 800 monster types. Now, the great thing is the rest of the game is like 80% there, and so we'll be adding content very quickly during early access, and so you can expect to see a lot of that coming really quickly. Now, in order to make the endgame happen at the same player level, we've had to add a second difficulty called Cruel difficulty, where you repeat the campaign with all the monsters and bosses harder, but also better rewards. If you sort of look at it in traditional game terms, you can think of it as a kind of like new game plus type thing, but we've actually made quite a lot of changes to the game throughout as well, which you'll probably enjoy as well. And that'll take you to around level 65, which is where the endgame begins. So, let's talk about what the endgame is. So in PoE, there are many different endgame grinds. One of the things that's kind of really important is that people feel like they've got a choice between many different types of activities in the endgame. So for PoE2, at the start of early access, we're going to have 8 primary in-game grinds that you can do, all of which have their own sort of systems for leveling them up, improving them, unique rewards, player power that you can get only from them. And we're going to introduce the first 2 of them right here during the campaign, which are the Ascension Trials. So the Ascension Trials in Path of Exile 2, you do encounter them in the campaign to start with, but then they level up all the way to endgame and they have interesting mechanics. So this first one here is called the Trial of the Sekimas, and it's actually a sequel to Sanctum League from PoE 1. So we've actually done quite a lot of sequels to leagues from PoE 1 with new mechanics and new stuff, but all of them have new things going on. So, basically, in order to, the Trial of the Sekimas is a place where the Maraketh came to be tested and gain power. In order to gain entry, you need a coin containing the soul of a djinn, and then once you put it in the relic altar there, then you can enter and start playing. Now the trial, the trial is made up of very.
Wait a second, right? Sekhmet. Isn't that like the Egyptian goddess or god with the panther god or whatever it is?
Different rooms, and it works a little bit like a roguelike type encounter system. where
Actually,
effectively
let me. I kind of wanna. Give me 1 second. I gotta check this real quick while we're looking at it. Sekhmet. Sekhmet. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not right about that one. Oh, it's okay. That's why I'm thinking of that. Okay, so Sekhmet was an Egyptian god. It's just if you take the A and the S away, that's how it's spelled. That's why it was so similar. I thought for a second that it was
it works a
the
little bit like
Egyptian god.
a roguelike type encounter system where effectively you pick each room, and then within each room there's a different challenge. This one is a ritual trial, I think, which has these monster summoners. So they're effectively summoning monsters, and you want to be able to kill those as fast as you can to complete the room. That one was relatively easy. So once you've completed the room, you can go into the next room to get your reward. Now in this case, we have a silver key. Keys can be used at the end of the trial.
I have to. Only a silver key must open a silver door.
To be able to get rewards, but effectively you have to be able to survive the entire trial to be able to claim them. Now this is the map for the trial, and you can effectively pick what type of room you'd like to go to next. There are a few different issues.
There's a gold key too? Where there is a golden key, there must be a golden door.
Yes. One of them is that the next room will have a type, so for a type of trial. For example, here's an hourglass trial, and it also has a type of reward, but also some of them have boons or afflictions that might get you. So this one says, for example, when you enter it, that it'll afflict you with blunt sword on entry, which means you and your minions deal 40% less damage. We probably don't want to do that as a minion build,
Nope.
but they have better
Seems
rewards.
like a bad
in exchange for
idea.
that. So once you've picked your room, you can go and do go and do the next one.
Oh my
Now, this one's a time
God.
trial. You have to survive and kill all the monsters. Now, one thing that I didn't mention at the start of this is that unlike in the normal game, if you take hits in this mode, then you're going to lose a resource called honor. If you run out of honor, then you have to leave the trial. So effectively, you want to really try and play these runs as
Where's
quick
your
as
honor
possible.
at, though?
And that means that
Where
all
do
the
you see your
monsters
honor?
selected usually have to be avoidable in some way, have
I don't
dodgeable
see it.
mechanics. And
Right,
that's sort
this
of
second.
why Octavian is playing as safely as he possibly can here. He doesn't want to get too close to the boss or that monster there. Because,
Wicked
he doesn't want to
Tiara.
lose honor.
Ooh.
Oh yes, it is. Okay, no, it's okay. Don't worry about it. All right. So once the trial is
What?
complete, once again you can go. And
They're
get
gonna
the
pick up
reward,
the
which in this
tiara?
case is a bronze key again because we picked one that had the same reward. We'll do one more.
Damn.
So that one's a sacred water fountain, the chalice trial. Yeah, sure, let's do it. All right, cool. The next one's called a chalice trial. Effectively, there's a blood chalice here, which has
so
which
cool.
you need to fill with blood by killing rare monsters in this area. Once you've killed all the rare monsters, you can continue.
Oh.
Now there are a lot of different rooms in the trial. There are around 70 in level 1, and they're random, what you get each time. So you should expect each run to feel quite different, and the kind of stuff you can expect to find, you know, the kind of boons and afflictions you get, the monsters that you'll face, this kind of thing, all of these are very different. And there's also 4 floors as well. This is just the first floor. Each floor looks different and has different mechanics, rewards, and so on as well. So there's quite a lot of content here. And once again, like I said, there's got to be ways as well for it to sort of expand
Big
into the
Moomba.
game, have more... you know, have ways to expand it and ways to make it both more damaging and more.
I don't see a minimap, right? Like there's no minimap up here in the corner anywhere, and I don't see like a minimap on the screen, so I'm kind of wondering if there's no map on this. I can't remember having like seen that at any point.
Where's that other rare? There he is.
Whoa! I thought that would ignite the gas.
So that's
Okay,
this
no.
trial complete. And once again, you can get the reward you picked, which I believe was Sacred Water in this case. So Sacred Water is a resource that you can use throughout your run. Effectively, it's a currency that can be used in a shop that you can find throughout the run as well. Water is obviously
Ooh.
a very hard resource in the desert. So in the interest of time, what we're going to do now is skip to the last room in this floor of the Sanctum, which is a boss room.
Steel yourself.
Defeat the 4 boss.
All right, so we have a
Wow,
Rattle
it
Cage.
looks so cool. Rattle Cage, the Earthbreaker. Oh my god. Wow, he killed all the minions. Damn. Jeez. Maybe we don't go minion build, maybe we go something else then. I want something that I'm like 99% sure I can kill the bosses with. That's for sure. Damn, there's so there's a lot happening here right now. There's a bunch of little volcanoes spewing out little volcanic rolling magma balls or whatever that is, and you have these basically drops of lava coming from the ceiling and hitting the ground and splashing. I'm guessing that's splash damage or something like that. This looks really hard. Like there's a lot of stuff going on here. Don't stand still, that's very obvious. You've got to keep moving here with all the extra like denial of area and all this stuff.
So that's the boss of the end of the first floor of the Sanctum, but there's lots more bosses in Sanctum to find. As I said, there's multiple floors. They each have interesting things. Now, at the end of each floor, you'll get the ability...
Hey, that's young, isn't it? Or maybe not. I can't really tell.
From various different chests, the keys that drop give the ability to open these caches here. So you want to pick which one because each of them have different different types of rewards in them. Now the other thing that you get to do here is use the Altar of Ascendancy. Now, unfortunately, we forgot to reset the ascendancy class, so you're not going to be able to see the list there when we did the thing before. But effectively, once you've the first time you use the order of ascendancy, you get to pick between 3 different ascendancy classes. In early access, there's only going to be 2 available for each class, and we're going to be adding the rest later. And those give you interesting things that are only available to your class because no other class gets those things on the passive tree. Now, with ascendancy classes in PoE2, we've really tried to do a lot better in terms of how interesting the things are. For example, this particular class, and because I can't see the name on the screen, I forgot what it's called, Infernalist, right? It's got some pretty interesting abilities. One of them here is called the Hellhound. So this one gives you the ability to summon a Hellhound. When you summon it, it has a few abilities. One of them is that it sets everything next to it on fire. It's a minion, so because we're a minion class, this can be really useful. But also it takes damage for you. Every time you take damage, it gets transferred to the Hellhound. So, he's a really good boy. Another one that's really interesting is that, if we just respec quickly away from that, is turning into a called Demon Form. So when you use demon form, you turn into a demon. While you're a demon, you lose life constantly, but you also have much higher spell damage and much faster cast speed. The longer you survive, the higher those numbers get. So, but you're going to continuously take damage. So you're probably, if you're going to use this, you probably want to do a build that involves getting high life regeneration in some manner, so you can survive as long as possible and do a large amount of damage. So that's an example, just
how about a mind over matter? Every like all your damage is taken from mana, stack mana regen and mana leech, and then just always be full mana.
But of course, there's lots of interesting nodes there, and you're going to want to get more points by doing more ascension trials, and continue to get more player power. Now in PoE2, you actually all of the ascension trials. Oh, that's right. Sorry, we haven't even finished this one yet. All right, hang on. Where was I? All right, that's right. Okay, so let's talk about how this extends into endgame. So effectively, as you go through this trial, you might find items called relics. And relics are these items here, which can be crafted. You can see an example of the blue one here. This one says monsters have a 4% chance to drop double sacred water and gain 16 sacred water at the start of the trial. Now, these are ways that you can effectively improve your odds as you go through, but there's some pretty interesting ones as well. Let's have another look at another couple. Bosses deal 4% reduced damage. These ones are very low level and simple, but they can get quite powerful. If you click on the relic altar before you start your run, put a coin in, then you've got these slots here that you can put the relics in, and you can also unlock more slots by doing more. By doing this more in order to be able to put more in. There are also unique relics, like for example this one here that says that the boss at the end of the entire trial will drop a specific unique item, but your maximum honor is 1, which means you can take exactly 1 hit, which means that you need to do a hitless run in order to be able to get that unique. So there are lots of other interesting unique relics that do other things. The ability to extend this and get into endgame is pretty high. And one of the reasons you're going to want to do that is because like all of these different endgame mechanics, there's unique player power that only comes from it. So in this particular case, we have jewels. Jewels are coming back in PoE2 as well. You can see an example of one of them here. These are things that you can socket into your passive tree to be able to get more stats. So this one says 15% increased maximum energy shield, and minions have plus 7% to all elemental resistances. Now, because of the fact that you can roll these yourself and stack them, there's some pretty interesting things you can do with jewels. And there's also jewels that have other kind of random and weird effects. Like, for example, this one here says says that 25% increased effect of small passive skills and radius. So this one actually modifies the other...
I wonder if you can stack these and have multiple of them in your tree of the same type.
Skills on the passive tree to improve them, with some interesting things and some interesting overlaps, you can do some pretty cool stuff with those as well. There are, of course, unique jewels and other things going on, and I won't go too much into it, but effectively, this does scale all the way in-game, has uniques, has ways to scale it, and a lot of interesting things you can do. The next trial we're going to talk about is the Trial of the Chaos God. Now, unlike in PoE1, every time you want to get more ascendancy points, there's a new trial that you have to do to do that. So this is the second trial that you can do, and once again, it's also an in-game mechanic that can be expanded upon. So we're going to use the Mercenary for this one. Now, this is the one you're going to encounter in Act 3 for the first time, but as I said, it extends to in-game as well. Finishing the Ascension Trial was kind of an ancient rite for the Vaal that conveyed power and respect. Entry requires a token from a strange entity called the Trial Master. And this is actually a sequel to a league from PoE1 called Ultimatum, but it works very differently. So to start with, he's going to offer the trial. make the offering to the trial, and then you can walk in. Now, before you enter each room in the trial of the Chaos God, you're going to have to pick from one of the downsides that's going to affect you for the entire rest of the trial. So the trial master is here, and he's going to offer you an item to start with. Here's the item that you're going to get if you complete this room. And he's also going to say, pick one of these 3 things that's going to potentially hurt you.
Wait. Causes enemies to explode on crit hit for 10% of their life as physical damage. That sounds insane. That sounds really good. Wow. That sounds actually enormously good. That reminds me a little bit of the Righteous Fire Chieftain situation, but it's 500% of their life.
If you complete this room. And he's also going to say, pick one of these 3 things that's going to potentially hurt you. In this case, we're going to pick blood globules, which will one of the easier ones. And what that's going to do is mean that these blood balls are going to appear above your head and slam down periodically.
Are you ready, Challenger?
As you walk into the room, he's going to summon a bunch of these monsters. Now, each of the rooms has different mechanics. This one's very simple. You just have to kill all the monsters.
Not Jedi.
Wow, it looks sick.
That's that blood globule I talked about earlier.
Wow, I like the fact when he hit the guy who was swinging his rope and firing the fire projectiles. When he hit him while he was throwing it around, it's basically stunned him and broke the animation, and he had to start swinging it again. That was a very nice little touch on detail. And on top of that, this ultimatum situation, like, in comparison to PoE1, this looks way better because that's one of the mechanics I never really got into, just because of the fact that you are literally in an arena that's like tiny little round arena, and there is like no fucking room in there, and you have to keep stacking things that are basically a negative for you, right? Like, and it's just at the end it becomes nearly impossible unless you build a build that's like directly minded on that. I would say it's not the easiest of the mechanics, but I like the fact they made it into a big ass arena where you can move around, so there's a little bit more freedom.
Now, the blood globule may not seem very threatening right now, but as you go through each room, you're going to add more and more mechanics that are going to hurt you, and so it can get quite intense by the time you've gotten to the end.
One down. Who's next?
There we go. So we've defeated all the monsters in this room, and we can move on to the next one. So as we move to the next room, once again, the Trial Master is going to give us a choice. Basically, sort of double or nothing. Do you want to take another reward and make the game harder again, or do you want to take the rewards you've already received so far and leave with your ill-gotten gains? In this case, obviously, like most players, you're probably going to want to pick another reward and keep going. So there's the existing one, blood globules, and that'll keep stacking up. But we're also going to add shocking turrets here, which are going to add turrets through the room, which you'll have to deal with as well. Now, this one is a trial that requires, it's a timed encounter type trial.
Live.
Whoa.
As you can see, there's those lightning turrets there now, which you also have to deal with, and it's going to spawn a lot of monsters that you have to survive.
Whoa.
You don't have to actually kill all of them. If the time runs out, then they're all going to go away, so yeah, you can, you just have to survive.
Damn, brother. Hectic. This is hectic. That's a 3-headed dragon.
The Val had a culture of risk-taking, so all these kind of risk versus reward mechanics very much work for them. The way they crafted and a bunch of other things like
that's
that.
Like
also
a
relate to this kind of risk-taking.
dinosaur? Like the Triceratops? Oh, he's in trouble now.
Stuck.
Whoa.
Uh-oh. You've only got 4 seconds.
Oh.
Survive for 4 seconds.
Oh.
Yeah. There we go.
Damn. Pro
Managed to,
gamer.
flask through it, so it's
Pro gamer. What the fuck? That looked terrifying. Oh my goodness. Damn. Saved by the
So
flask.
as you get towards the end game, there'll be a very significant number of rooms you can do in a row. You can just keep on making it harder and harder. In this first version of it, you're going to in this first version of it, you only have to do 4 rooms to be able to ascend. But once again, if you can't do them all in a row in one go without dying, then you'll lose your entry ticket. So you'll have to get another one to get in. So once again, like the other challenge, you'll want to be make sure that you're ready before you do this trial. Now this particular one involves pushing this idol forward. When you're near the idol, it moves forward. When you're as you get further away, it falls down and doesn't move anymore. So ideally, you can get close to it. Now, as you move it forward, it's also going to spawn these, trigger these monster elevators with monsters that are going to come down as well.
No Jedi.
All right, finally. That one dragged a little bit, but it's okay. We finally got there in the end. All right. So just like in Sanctum, there are also bosses that you can get as you go through here. The order of them is random, and so they can be very hard or relatively easy depending on when you encounter them and what things that you've picked beforehand. Before the boss, once again, the Trial Master will ask you to pick, do you want to bail now or do you want to pick something else?
Don't bail.
That looks okay.
Their enemies, protect them.
So here's one of the bosses you can find in the Trial of the Chaos God.
Oh,
Chaos will bring you to your end.
the fuck is his name? IX? How the fuck do you say that? Ixmupain? I don't know. That's a fucking. I don't know how to say that. Vulture of Chaos. Sounds cool as fuck. I just don't. Like, how the fuck do you say that first part of his name? Jesus Christ. Wow, the turrets in this little arena is kinda... it's a little bit dangerous. Oh my god. Wow. That fucking took him down on the health bar. Holy... Oh my god. Jeez. Maybe they don't have the minimap on because it would
Tornado is killed in the
show
most times
something
in
they don't want
practice
to show
by
off
the way.
right now.
It's lethal.
Bro, that tornado looks insane. What? That is crazy. The amount of aerial of denial in this thing is wild. Wow, did you see how he blinked basically? Wow, he moved fast. Jesus Christ. You got him, baby. Get him. Oh, he almost died. Get him.
Only your downfall.
Damn, son. That was wild. Holy
So that's as
shit.
far as we're going to go in this trial for now at this low level. And of course, once again, you'd be able to ascend here if this is as far as you can get during the campaign. But there's a lot more stuff you can get. So the Trial Master now is going to give you the rewards that you've earned throughout the trial. And there are a lot of rewards that are unique just to this trial. So let's go through a few of these that we've got here. Now the first thing he's going to offer, one of the things we've got here is an item with a socket in it. Now, we removed gem sockets from PoE2, but we've actually re-added back sockets in a much more traditional way as things that you can put items in to get extra mods. So if you have a look down the left there, you can see a thing called a Soul Core. This is a Soul Core of Thunder. If you put it in a weapon, you get lightning damage. If you put it in a shield, then an armor, you're going to get 10% lightning resistance. This is player power. You can't get any other way than sockets, and it's only unlocked through content that you can get through here. Now, if you want to be able to actually add
Wow.
sockets to existing gear as opposed to using the sockets that are on gear that you get from here, you're going to have to use these things called Val Orbs. Val Orbs modify things unpredictably, and they work a little bit differently than they used to in PoE1. Now, the first thing I want to mention is the fact that these corrupt items, and what that means is that after you've used this, you can't use it on another item again. So that's the last thing you want to do in your crafting step. This particular one here rolled with it got an extra mod. It got 14 to 20 chaos damage as an extra mod, as well as getting corrupted. But they can also do other things. So we'll use it on some of our gear here. You can equip it. I think you can leave it equipped. Yeah. So we're going to use it on his bow here. Okay, so that one gave him a socket. Excellent. So now he'll be able to upgrade his bow with a soul core to get an extra mod. So that's really valuable.
Wow.
Probably wouldn't have picked that one, but
Super
that's
nice.
fine. That's what he had. Then we've also got, let's see in some other results. That one, okay, so that one just modified random mods on the item. So probably not good, not what you wanted. That's a bad outcome. On the other hand here, all right, added another mod, 25% increased armor and evasion. That's a very good roll. So effectively the theme with these things is that you're going to get random results. You don't probably want to use them on the items that you've got equipped because they're likely to potentially damage them or make them worse. But there's player power that you can get from this that you can't get any other way. So it's something that you're definitely going to want to be able to do as you go through the game.
Hell
Now,
yeah.
of course, because we got to the end here, we can also ascend. For this particular
Insert the
one,
faith to
might as well
unlock
just
the
ascend this
door.
character. So there's the Witch Hunter, which you could pick, and might as well just pick a simple node. I mean, there's a basic one that's just Culling Strike. You might as well pick that. We didn't actually plan to show this character class while we're doing here, so just ascending while we're at it. Now,
door to the Trial
right there, you
Master.
also see there's an entrance to the Trial Master's Tower. That's like a special endgame thing, which we're not going to show you, but effectively that's the pinnacle boss for this particular endgame grind. But let's talk a little bit about how you're going to expand on this. So if you go back to the start of the area, the keys not only have let you get into the trial, but they also going to have mods on them as well that allow you to do different things. And just like the Val always have, we want to make sure that there's things that have both bonuses
Sacrifice
and
up to 10
downsides,
exalted to
that
receive the double
They're very double or
on-
nothing type culture.
Nice.
So this one here says sacrifice up to 10 exalted orbs to receive double that on trial completion. So effectively, you can go double or nothing on currency as well, but it also has minus 25% to maximum player resistances, which is a pretty nasty downside. You can roll these things and they have some pretty interesting mods on them. So yeah, it's one of those things you can specialize into in game. Now, of course, there's also uniques only available here and various other things available here. So yeah, you're going to want to do that.
Hell yeah.
So those are the two trials that extend into endgame that are during the campaign. But now we want to show you how the actual endgame
Level
primary endgame
95?
system itself
That should
works.
be an endgame character then.
So we're going to have to get a higher level monk to be able to show you that. Now, I'm not going to get too much into the plot of this, but this is where you're going to start in the endgame.
Ziggurat,
And just like in
isn't that-
PoE1,
that's
we have a
the
thing called the map
T17
device
map?
that you're going to be using to
Oh, it's
travel
his
around.
hideout. is
But what you
Ziggurat.
actually get when you click on the map device is going to be quite different.
Oh, no?
Now, the storyline here effectively is that there's corruption from the beast has spread across the land, and you're going to need to try and cleanse it. Now, this is actually an infinitely scrolling map that goes in all directions and contains all areas you can go to. You can go to each map only
I
one time.
love this
So you're going to want
Atlas,
to,
brother.
you're going to try and want to find, interesting places to go. Now, this is the primary thing to explore after you finish the campaign, and there's all sorts of things to find on here. There's bosses, there's towers, there's beast corruption, there's rare areas with interesting mechanics, all sorts of in-game content that you can see in these icons.
Wait. Pause that.
There's beast corruption, there's rare areas with interesting mechanics, all sorts of in-game content.
Abyss confirmed, boys? Yes or no? What? Darkness enthrows these endless shams? 100% more chance to inflict elemental alignment while unbound. Are we getting Abyss in a different type of mechanic? If you look at the area here, it's like a sand area, and you have like the corruption that's spreading here, but you also have like this black, I don't know what to call it, around here. It almost looks like like infected ground, or it almost looks like, so from PoE1 with the abysses, it's like a crack in the ground with a hole that basically pours out monsters. This looks like it could be similar to that. That's fucking sick, boys. That's sick. That is really, really sick. Oh,
You can see these
no.
icons for around the place, and hideouts, roving merchants, and even cities. Now, effectively, in order to travel to one of these, what you're going to do is click on it, and then you can travel to it using a waystone. Now, these waystones effectively work like maps did in Path of Exile 1. You can craft them and so on as well. Once you've gone to the map, then what you're going to find is a randomly generated... Oh, okay, he immediately clicked the portal back. Classic mistake.
I've been down that road
Here is a
once or
randomly
twice.
generated area, and we've really ramped the random generation up to 11 for this. Obviously, all...
I'm kind of fucking wondering this one thing though, honestly. Now I'm so you die in the map and you'll fail it, right? But you have 6 portals. I guess it's to do like group play then? Or like you just are you gonna get so much loot that you're gonna need 6 portals to go back and stash? I don't think that's the I don't think that is the reason for the 6 portals. However, it's really hard to tell.
All the monsters here are also going to be random, and one thing I will mention is that the variety of monsters in PoE2 is a lot higher, and they have a lot more interesting abilities, which means that interesting combinations of them in maps can really produce interesting results. These particular ones that were randomly picked here seem to be relatively simple, so I guess that point isn't that well made today, but that's all right. Now, this monk is effectively the same kind of build we were doing before.
No
but,
fucking
it's
shot.
the same
Bro, he froze this dude as he was moving forward, and when he froze him, he just started gliding on the ice. Wow, that looks so cool. No way.
Now, this monk is effectively
Look,
the same
oh my
same kind
god,
of build,
that's cool.
that we were doing before, but it's
I
a lot
hope that
faster
was
to get in
intended,
there. But
because
what
that
we're going
was
to do is we're
fucking
going to amp
sick.
it up a little bit further just to sort of see some of the kind of things that you can do in game as well. So after we've finished clearing this pack, then
Can he do it again?
Do that.
No. Okay.
So let's open up this, and what we're going to do is this is a character that frees a lot of things, so we're going to add a cast on freeze gem here. And what that's going to mean is every time you freeze a monster, it has the ability to cast whatever spell of your choice. In this case, we're going to cast Frost Wall.
Ooh.
And we're going to add Fortress and
Okay.
reduce cooldown to that, so that
Oh,
we can
hell
cast
yeah.
them all the time, and they're going to go in a circle around the monster that got frozen. So
Hey,
effectively, because it's going
he
to
did it
create a lot more
again.
frozen objects around the monster,
That's
when you
so
use your Glacial
sick,
Cascade,
bro.
they're going to do a lot more damage and explode for a huge amount of
to like
huge amount of damage
okay,
as well.
the thought process behind that, like the detail, the attention to detail, that is what I wanted to say, is absolutely unreal. What the actual fuck? Expert. Okay.
So the goal here is to cleanse the corruption on the map, and you do that by killing all the rares, and if there's a map boss, then killing the map boss as well. Now, there are map bosses that can spawn in every map, but we've actually decided to not have a map boss every time you go to them, and instead you can see which areas have map bosses on the main map. What that means is that we've got the ability to have the map bosses be a lot more challenging, but also drop a lot more items as well, so because you don't encounter them
This, I'm looking at his skills, right? It looks like an ice wind build this time, like this.
quite
this
so
monk.
frequently. And you can also choose, do I want to do bossing, or do I want to just grind maps and do other things? So it kind of gives the player that choice. So once you've completed the map, it'll be green on the in this area, and then effectively allows you to continue to explore. Now, this map is kind of somewhat randomly explored, so don't concentrate too much on that. But effectively, you're going to be expanding outwards from the center. Now, of course, the other thing you can do is
I wonder
craft
what's gonna happen if you accidentally cut yourself off in the beginning.
maps with currency items. So
like
if you-
here, right? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. Yeah, 3, 4, 5. Right. So if you fail all 5 of these, this one is not connected. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. If you fail all 4, how the fuck do you get out of the middle then? Like, can you basically cut yourself off from the Atlas like that? I can't. They have to have some kind of solution for that in some kind of way. There's gotta be like a reset or re-roll or some button to like kind of change that. So in case you do like screw it up, you basically have like a way to re-roll it in some kind of way. I don't know if that's possible. It's infinite though, so maybe there's another tower you can go through and just spawn in another area.
Get a an orb of transmutation here, and we can use that on there to get a mod on the item. Now the prefixes are benefits to you, and the suffixes are negatives to you. So this is something that we've changed a little bit how it works. So that means that you can just get a map that's just a straight up boon to you if you do a single. If you turn it into a magic with only one mod, but of course if you turn it into a rare, you're going to get a variety of downsides and upsides, and all of them can have different effects. So once you've cleansed corruption from maps, then you can start to unlock the Atlas tree, which allows you to further up.
I'm actually right now. I'm wondering if you're kind of like so on PoE1. When you are going to complete the Atlas, you want to do your white maps rare, and you want to, you want to do your white maps blue or magic, and you want to use rare on the yellow maps, and corrupted rares on your red maps, right? I wonder if they have kind of like done the same thing here, or if it's like more free where you don't actually have to corrupt the red map
system for this thing. So here's the Atlas tree here. Now we've actually made what we've actually done here is all the different types of content have their own trees. Each one of them's kind of
there's so much room here, right? If we look at the trees, so you could easily take, for instance, like take the ritual tree right here, I believe it is, and just move it out here, right? So it's sitting further away from the middle tree. And then you could just add a new cloister right here with a bunch of new stuff, and it like you can keep expanding on this because of the way they set it up. I really like that, because every league is basically just gonna expand this with a new mini skill tree, and potentially added more nodes to the big skill tree. That's sick though. That's insane.
kind of like an ascendancy class, and then for that content. But there's also a primary tree that you get just for killing maps. So there's a tree here for cleansing maps. There's also a tree for killing bosses, and then trees for doing other content on the Atlas as well. So you kind of you don't have to choose between, or rather, you can choose to do a piece of content, but you're not going to be losing anything from any of the other pieces of content when you decide to do them later. Effectively, they all have their own kind of scaling in that way. So a random example here, 20% increased magic monsters in your maps. Another random example, I don't know, 20% increased quantity of waystones found on your maps. But there's also like keystones here, like rare and unique monsters in your maps have 1 to 2 additional modifiers. It also adds extra bonuses to drops as well. So these are the kinds of things that you can get on the tree, and that's one of the progression systems as well, effectively, as I'm going through the Atlas tree here. But it's also kind of the gateway to a lot of the other mechanics. So for example, here we see a map that's got this little hand icon, and that means that there is a breach in this map. There's also the boss icon there, which indicates there's a boss there as well. So we know there's a breach in there. If you're looking for breaches, this is where you want to go. You can effectively always see the content that you're going to be able to face in maps as you look around the tree. And there's also going to be mechanics for adding more of them later, which we'll talk about as well. So at the start, you'll just have to find them randomly, but later on you can add them to maps too. So let's have a look at this. So breaches. So Breach is another one of the League sequels that we've done for Path of Exile 2, and it's also one of the sort of pinnacle in-game content grinds that you'll be able to progress through. Breaches are effectively small fissures in reality that let you see into an alternate plane where demons roam free, and touching a breach will cause it to expand and reveal all the demons there that are lurking on that plane. So we're going to have to warp, unfortunately, directly there, which is going to trigger immediately, so you won't get to see what it looks like before you trigger it, but Octavian can do that now. So when you trigger it, and this is a horrible location for it, when you trigger it, all of these demons will start to come out of the other plane. Now, as you kill the demons, it's going to extend the amount of time. If you're a very good player, and you can kill demons very quickly, you can keep this going for a very long time and cover half the map with it. If you're not as good, or maybe your build just isn't as strong, then you're not necessarily going to be able to do that. So it's very hectic. Oh yeah, there we go. So it's ended already. So effectively, you have to try. If you're very fast at kill speed, you're going to be able to take very good advantage of this particular mechanic. Now, breaches, of course, have their own rewards, which is why you're going to want to do them. Let's just have a look on the ground to see if we can find any. If you go back and have a look, did it drop any? Breach splinter. Right. So one of the so there's a couple of things that they drop. So one of them is catalysts, and the other one is splinters. So which one should we talk about first? How about the catalysts? So catalysts are a reward you can get only from breach, and effectively what they do is increase the quality of specific modifiers on jewelry. So this one here says adds quality that enhances life modifiers on rings and amulets. So effectively, this is going to allow him, if you use that on your ring or amulet, it'll allow you to increase the, it'll add life quality that'll make the life roll on that amulet go up. This is an area of player power that sort of seems relatively subtle, but there's actually quite a lot to this that you can do. Breach also drops breach rings that are one of the best ring-based types because they allow quality to go up to 50, which means that you can use those as base types to create some really crazy
201
rings,
life.
for the game as well. So that's one of the forms of player power you get from only from breach. The other thing you're going to find in
Honestly,
breach sort of
I really like that they didn't do corrupted breach rings because I have never used a breach ring in my life. Like, they just don't seem worth it because often when they're corrupted, they just don't come with particularly great stats. There'd be like 1 or 2 or 3 stats that are really good, and the rest of them are like pretty mid or shit. So I never really personally used them, but it makes so much more sense to me to do it like this.
unlock the pinnacle boss are these breach splinters. So if you collect 300 breach splinters, it'll allow you to make a breach stone that will allow you to go to the breach domain where you can fight one of the pinnacle bosses. Now we're actually going to show you this pinnacle boss for this particular league mechanic just because it's nice to see one, but we're not going to show you any of the other pinnacle bosses in this demo, but all of the different types of league, all the different types of content that we have, they all have their own pinnacle.
They made it, I just now realized, they made it so the breach portals actually spawns a breach hand when you're opening the breach stone instead of just a regular portal. I was saying that with PoE1, I felt like sometimes, because for instance the Shaper fight has like a specific looking portal and the Sirius fight has a specific looking portal. I feel like they should have done that with this. Like Logbooks has a specific portal, and that's only really the breach stones. And is there anything else that I can? Breach stones is pretty much one of the few things where it actually doesn't spawn like a special portal. It's just pretty much your own portal, right? Like your own whatever. So that's sick. That is really sick. I like that.
Now, this
that's
is effectively a map
W
that's a single
for sure.
large breach, and you're going to have to be able to race through the entire map in the amount of time to be able to get there and finish it.
Assault!
Now this is the domain where the demons actually live, and you can see the kind of creepy hand stuff they've got going on as their theme there.
Oh, I see it. Oh my god, there's hands everywhere coming up the ground or crawling up the sides. Oh, they went all out with the details.
It's revealed.
Oh my god. That's so brilliant. I love that. Sticking to a theme and just like keep pushing it. Wow, man. Damn. Well, he is level 95. He almost died there. Wow. That looks scary as shit. Seven seconds. Oh, he's pushing it to the end here. Wow. Four, 3, 2, what? Oh my, that was so close. He almost failed that one. Holy shit. Oh, that life, man. Whew.
Looks like he did it. All right, so now if we keep going here, we're going to get to the boss.
I'm noticing that it says advanced and expert in front of the gear. And there's some gear that doesn't have like a... I wonder if that's like a new tier, like base tier basically. It's just called this instead. That's cool. I just now kind of like paid attention to that.
We that dreamed. We in nightmare. We that are one.
Oh, this boss looks so sick.
I need mana.
Run. Oh, I love that. Fury of the cosmos. Oh shit.
His message burns within our grasp.
Oh, he... Nice. Oh shit, okay. Woo.
Hear the grey winds. We watch. We wait. We dream.
Oh shit! Did you see that? You okay? So that's a massive like AOE attack, right? But I was kind of wondering how you would escape that, but now I just noticed that there would be like a handprint on the ground before it slams, and you basically want to dodge out of the handprint to not get hit. Okay. Very telegraphed, very easy to read. I love that attack, the way he flicked his finger and shit. Oh shit.
The creeping dark of unburdened thought.
Oh.
We call.
Oh my god, I just now realized. Let me see. Notice these is hands coming up from the ground, like ghost hands, with strings attached to each finger, controlling an enemy that they get basically like a puppet. Like I don't know what the exact name for that is, but that is insane. That looks so fucking cool. Look there, like now he's like pulling an enemy out of the hole, and there's like strings attached to him. Look. Yo, that looks sick, bro. And oh my god, that is such a fucking brilliant thing. It fits every that. Yo, they're staying true to the theme of like the hand theme throughout the whole fight, with everything that's going on in the background, everything that's happening, all the attacks is all themed around and just pushed to the absolute maximum. Fucking sick, man. There we go with the hand again. Beautiful. Nicely evaded. Bro, that string. Oh my god, that looks so cool. God damn, that attack does look kind of sick though. There's a lot of projectiles. Holy fuck. Oh, that attack does some damage. Don't get hit by that 3 times in a row. Oh, This is so well thought out, man. Woo! Wow, that does some damage to you, golly. He lost all ES and most of his life in one hit. Like, wow. There's a lot of projectiles. Wow.
The creeping dark of unburdened thought.
Oh, that was so close. He almost fucking died there. That was so close. Holy shit. Bro. There's so many attacks happening. He got like an arsenal of attacks here. Like the enemy, the boss does have like quite, wow. Okay. Did he dash it? You got him. Hey, this says tier 3. What? Advanced tier 3 expert. Wow, okay. Now I'm really fucking confused. So what does advanced and expert really mean then? If there's tiers as well. Damn, that's a good question. Oh, it's a hand coming through the wall, choking him out, bro. It's over, boys. They are doing it beyond, above and beyond. Above and beyond. What the fuck? What the actual fuck, man? Way to stick to a theme.
Alright, so that's an example of a pinnacle boss, and we're not going to show you the rest of them, but that's just kind of give you a flavor for what an endgame pinnacle boss might be like. But just like all of the pinnacle bosses, when you defeat them, you're going to get points for the ascendancy tree, sorry, not ascendancy tree, for the Atlas tree for that particular content. So this is the breach one here. Now the idea is that you kill the boss, you make the whole league more difficult, and then you can beat the boss again at a higher difficulty and get more points. So the first point here you're going to see is +1 to Twisted Domain difficulty, which is going to effectively make Breach harder. It says here difficulty levels must have increased.
Pause. Did you notice that he just popped up a box that explains what happens, but the box was like slightly in the way, so he just grabbed it and moved it? Are you
damage
fucking...
and toughness as well as making them grant more experience.
What did they not think about?
But there's also effectively specific nodes that will give you interesting changes to that league mechanic. So for example, classed hands in your maps have a 25% chance to be guarded by a pack of magic monsters. Breaches in your maps have 50% more classed hands. Those things are effectively like breach chests that you find as the breach expands there. So that's like a bonus that you might choose to pick. There's lots of other ones here that you could pick as well. And as I said, each of the different types of content all have their own trees here that you can do your own stuff with. So that is actually, wait, there's one more thing that we forgot to tell you about, and this is kind of important, which is tablets. Okay, right, I should have gone over that earlier, so we'll just do it now. So effectively, right, when you do a breach in your maps, one of the things that you might find, and this is kind of important,
he made
tablets.
the breach and the portal.
Now tablets are items in your inventory that you can use with these towers. If you open your inventory there and have a look at just finding a good place. So when you play breaches, you might find these breach tablets. And what this does is effectively adds more breaches to maps in the vicinity. So this says add 8 maps in range. 8 maps in range contain breaches, and breaches in your map spawn an additional rare monster. So if you open a tower, it gives you this interface. You can put the tablet in there, and then when you use it, it affects the local area and adds a bunch of breaches around the place. So what that means is that all the content is...
Wait a minute. It just consumed the tablet? But it's like still open. I'm wondering, can you just keep adding them in? And like, let's say he took like Is that a ritual one? I think it is. And added that, and then is that I think that's expedition. Then added that on, and then is that delirium? I think so. Then added that one. Would it like? Would you be able to like, or like just stack multiple breach tablets in here?
Self-reinforcing. If you want to play breaches, then you're going to find this these tablets. You're going to use those to add more breaches to maps in the area, and also boost what the breaches are doing, and then which will get you more tablets, which will get you more and more, and so on. So it's effectively a way to, if you're choosing breach is the thing I want to be doing, then that means that you can effectively self-sustain breach for as long as you want to, and sort of effectively turn your map into that. This is the truth for all the different mechanics that you can find on the Atlas. You know, you've got ones here for Ritual and Expedition and Delirium right there. All right, so that's kind of important. So what we've covered here effectively is, okay, obviously, actually, one thing I, of course, failed to mention is that, you know, there are uniques you only get from that Pinnacle boss, of course, and so on. There are uniques you only get once you get the difficulty of that Pinnacle boss up to a certain level. So, of course, once again, each endgame grind has to have a way to expand it, a way to make it more difficult, a way to specialize into it, a way to, you know, get rewards that are specific to that. So, next, let's talk about Expedition. So once again, we've done another sequel to a leak from PoE1. This one's Expedition. We'll put a map in here, and just to make it a little bit easier, we're not going to actually do the rest of the map. We're just going to do the Expedition part of it. So what Expedition is effectively there are some Kalgurans, a group of people called Kalgurans, who are trying to dig up some old burial sites from their ancestors, and the goal is try to get Verisium relics that are left over from their past. If you've played PoE1, the mechanic is quite similar. Effectively, what you're going to see is all of these markers here on the ground that are going to tell you whereabouts things are buried, and they're going to dig these things up using explosives. So effectively, you have to choose carefully where you're going to place the explosives in order to be able to get the most amount of bonus. There are also these things called remnants here that give you both bonuses and downsides for doing them. After you blow up the remnant, all the future monsters after that point will be stronger but more rewarding. So effectively, Octavian's going to place down some of these dynamite charges in a string, and then once he's done that, he will be able to detonate them and spawn things. Now he's choosing carefully which remnants he wants to use based on his build. He wouldn't want, for example, to make all the monsters immune to ice, because that would completely destroy him. Now, there are lots of interesting things to find under the ground. There's like chests, and there can often be caverns and things like that. Once you get to the end game system, the pinnacle content for this league, there's going to be bosses and so on to find and things like that.
I kind of love the fact he's calling it a league, and it's not even a league. It's just a fucking early access. It's not even a fucking league.
Now, the purpose of killing all these monsters primarily is to get these Verisium artifacts. You can see one there that says exotic coinage, but there's various other things like that on the ground. They also have these chests that drop items. There's a broken circle artifact, and oh look, they're unique, nice.
Hermit.
You might as well identify it. I don't know which one that is.
Guard.
Let's have a look. This is just unscripted, by the way.
Reduce 53% reduce bleeding duration on you. Oh damn, that's kind of like the other one we saw. Bleeding you inflict is aggravated. Aggravated? What does that mean?
Apron of Emerian. Bleeding you inflict is aggravated, which says that.
No way you can ask like that. So this is wow. This is great. This is fucking insane, bro. You can ask the game for what the things mean. You don't actually have to wiki, PoE wiki it or like look it up somewhere. You just ask the game. This is brilliant. This is gonna be a fucking major help for newer people like myself to fully understand what everything means. Wow. That is... Bro.
Aggravated bleeding does 200% extra damage, right?
What are
so
we
this is a bleed build type thing,
about
whatever. Anyway, yeah, once you've got these artifacts, then you can trade them with the Kalgurans for various different rewards. And once again, I'm not, in the interest of time, I'm not going to go into too much into this, but probably one of the more interesting ones is using crafting with a guy called Rog. We'll do that one here just so we can have a look. So Rog effectively has a shop where he'll sell you different items. You can re-roll it using the currency as well. But once you find something that you want to kind of start with, which maybe you don't, there we go. Then what you can do is after you buy it, he'll offer to do various crafts. Okay, so this is an interesting one before you click anything.
Rock
So what this is
crafting.
going to do is remove all prefix
Do not
modifiers
fucking
from the
remove
item.
your life and
So
attack
if we
speed.
like
That
the
would be
prefixes, we
terrible.
probably want to
Don't
skip
do
this
that
one and not do it. So we'll
Skippy
skip
skip.
this one. We got
Oh
the same one again,
my
which is very annoying. So,
God.
okay, so I guess we just have to do it then. Then
Gloves
re-roll
are
some of the
ruined.
modifiers. Now there's quite a lot of different modes here, but effectively you get various ability to modify the item before you go.
Yeah,
I
they're
think
done.
this one is going to turn out to
Homie,
be
they're
completely
done.
crap.
You can throw them out now.
With a single modifier with the lowest modifier level.
What? Maybe you can keep it.
Sure, I guess you can just take it. Anyway, that was a pretty crap example, but effectively this is a crafting system that allows you to make some pretty interesting items. Now, the other thing you're going to get from expeditions, other than the tablets...
Wait, pause. I just now realized. It says up here there's like a bunch of missions. Catalysm Wake. Complete tier 1 maps, 6 out of 10. Okay. The Pinnacle of Flame. Obtain 3 keys to the locked door. Oh, that sounds sick. Ensomite Infiltration. I don't know if I said that right. Defeat Count Geonor. Okay, that sounds kind of cool. That sounds like a boss. Travel to the Copper Citadel. That sounds like a city almost. Defeat Doriani's Royal Thaumaturg? I don't know if I'm saying that right. Vel Incursion. Oh, so that was probably the boss that that we saw him fight. Like when I said this reminds me of Alva and the temple in the beginning. That's probably that mission, eh?
Do more of them is what else do we have here?
Logbooks.
Right, we'll just do the logbooks next. Okay, right. So we've got logbooks.
Yes.
So if you can get a logbook, it effectively allows you to do a like super expedition, which is like an area that has only expedition. These logbooks have various mods and things as well. And then once you go there, then you can do an expedition that has a lot more. You get a lot more dynamite to make it a much larger string. So there's a lot more strategy in picking what type of things you want to find. Also, if you there's also things like bosses and uniques and like special underground areas and things like that to find. So there's just quite a lot of stuff hidden under the ground that you want to do. So at least find an underground area maybe. Yeah, is that one there? Okay, right. And then when you detonate it, you're going to get the string of monsters, which you can try and keep up with. Although I hear the balance of this league is a bit wrong at the moment, so he might get one shot. So we'll see.
I've been down that road on expedition once or twice with a really powerful build. You can definitely juice this mechanic to the point where it's nearly impossible. Just getting off screened immediately when you walk in there or anything. Wow. Okay. He's on that level 95, isn't he? Damn. This might just be me completely shooting in the dark here, but it does seem a little bit more slow paced on the end game. If this is actually then level 95, maybe it's not super geared or something like that, but it just seems a little bit more slowed down, where there's like a little bit more time to actually understand what's happening, the enemies, what they're doing, and the shooting. Because I will say that like in PoE1, it's kind of sometimes a little bit hard to follow along what's happening, because it's happening so freaking fast and there is so many different things happening all at once, and so many different damages and like debuffs and all kinds of shit. So it takes quite a while to like fully understand everything, especially like for new players. It takes quite a while to understand what the exact damages are from the different enemies. I'm still in the learning period of that because there's still multiple enemies in the game. I have no idea what the damage are, bosses and stuff like that. I have no freaking idea. I don't know what to like scale to basically be more safe in those fights, right? Like I'm just not 100% sure. I could, like, you can look everything up, but I haven't gone deep in it yet. I've been going super deep in learning the campaign and how to complete it semi fast, and then I've gone deep on crafting and building. That's basically it, right? Like there's a bunch of other stuff you could definitely go deep on, and I'm by no means good at any of those things. I've become better, but I'm not good. What a sword! That yo, I gotta say it now. You call that a knife? This is a knife. That's what the fuck he just reminded me of. Crocodile Dundee, bro. Bro, he pulled that sword that was fucking insanely big. What the fuck? It's like 3 times its own size. Look at that sword! What? It's massive. Jesus. Call that a sword? This is a fucking sword.
Right, so rather than keeping on killing those guys, we'll just quickly show you one of the things that he found. So there was a sub area down here where called Hidden Aquifer. There's quite a lot of variety of different things like this. I'm not sure what's in this one. But yeah, as I said, some of them contain bosses. They all contain interesting rewards that can be unique just to them. So yeah, there's quite a lot of things you're going to want to find.
I believe this was the one that gave
So
you
like all of
omens,
the
right?
games, completing the most difficult
so.
content in this end game is going to allow you to get points to put in the ascendancy tree, make it more difficult, add more of them, that kind of thing. So yeah,
He
let's go on
almost
to the next
died.
one.
That was so close.
Sure. Oh, you might as well show the Atlas tree as well. So there's an example here which makes the number of
Wait,
explosives to 1.
wait. Now I'm getting a little bit confused, honestly. Right, Sikara, but maybe this ain't his hideout, actually. Maybe this is like, what's it called? The town that you get to when you complete Act 10. Oh my god, I'm fully spacing the name right now. Kuri Shores or something like that? Maybe that's more like it, where there's the map device inside. And this is like just a city and not his actual hideout. If this is a city and not like a hideout, that is insane. It looks outrageously good. Holy shit.
Sure. Oh, you might as well show
fuck?
the Atlas tree as well. So there's an example here which makes the number of explosives to 1,
A big
so that you only
bomb.
get one really large explosive rather than having to do a whole
Imagine if they allow that on the logbooks. You can use a big bomber. Just open the whole fucking thing up.
string of them in your maps. Maybe just a randomly interesting one. Let's have a look at the next one, which is Ritual. So Ritual is one of the other in-game grinds. When you enter a map with this mechanic, you're going to find these ritualistic circles through the area.
I'm not gonna lie, boys. This video is gonna be painful to edit with all the things that I have to cut out, and wow.
Oh, there's one right there. Great. So when you kill monsters inside them, it effectively grants the monsters as tribute. And so when you summon the ritual, all the monsters that you killed within that ritual circle will spawn again. Why does that root spider have no eyes?
Did it not have any eyes? I didn't even pay attention to it. It's a blind fucker.
Oh, it's breach as well. Okay, whatever. Let's not worry about that. Now, of course, because the league mechanics overlap, you would be able to kill breach monsters inside the circle and summon them again by the...
Yes,
ritual.
thank you.
All right, so when you use the ritual, it effectively closes you off into a small area, and you have to fight all the monsters that you killed in
It
that
doesn't
circle
have any eyes. That big worm thing. I see that now.
again.
Okay.
But the key thing is that there's it empowers them.
It's
There are
been on the
multiple,
ground for too long. It's
rituals
blind
to
as
the
a
area.
motherfucker.
So after each time you do this, you get a type of points called tribute that you can then spend on items.
Yo, my boy over here looks like he's fucking laser focused.
But if you're willing to risk it and make the rituals even more powerful, you can go to another ritual circle, kill more monsters inside of it, and then you'll be able to make the it'll summon both the ones from this circle and from the subsequent circle as well,
Right.
making the rituals very, very tough by the time you get to the end. Oh, there's one last monster over there. All right. So then when you click on the ritual, it'll open the screen here, which allows you to spend tribute. Now, I don't think we want to spend too long on this, but effectively, this is the reward mechanic for ritual, and the more tribute you get, the more things you can get. Jesus Christ, why are there more monsters? Oh, the map is beyond. Wait, is that because it was a corrupted map? Okay, right. So because this is a corrupted map, by the way, every time you kill monsters, it's got this mechanic called Beyond, where it leaves these little orbs behind, and then demons can get summoned from when you kill them. That's just one of the random corruption outcomes you can get due to beast corruption in a map. Anyway, right. So this is tribute. You can buy items. None of these look particularly amazing, but do you have an omen in there? No. Okay. So in that case, we've got the inventory. Right. So one of the things you're going to be looking for this are omens. So omens are a high-level crafting item that you can use to make more targeted changes to your items.
Wait. Go back.
You're going to be looking for
patches of chilled ground. Area contains ritual areas, altars. Area contains additional breach. 100 maps in range contains breaches. 100 maps in range contains rituals. 8% increased pack size. 16% quantity of items found in area. Okay. Area is corrupted. 109% increased waystones found in area. Alright. Okay.
For this are omens. So omens are a high-level crafting item that you can use to make more targeted changes to your items. So let's have a look at what they do. So here's an item here where we might like the prefixes but thinks the suffixes are crap. Normally what you might want to do is either reroll them with a Chaos Orb or maybe remove them with an Orb of Annulment. But you can't normally choose which mod to remove. This is an omen of dextral annulment. What that does is while this item is active in your inventory, your next Orb of Annulment will remove only suffix modifiers. So if you use that, and then
you can't really tell what
it'll only remove suffixes, not prefixes. And if you want to remove another suffix, he's got another one there. So this is a way of kind of doing meta crafting on items that allow you to make targeted changes. And with this, you can make some pretty broken stuff. There's another one here that says, while this item is active in your inventory, your next Exalted Orb will add 2 modifiers. That just effectively is a double Exalt. This kind of thing is like a pretty simple one, but there are a lot of these, and they do very interesting things. So that's just a sort of interesting way of crafting. It's one of the types of player power you can get only from this league. Of course, like other in-game mechanics, there's an Uber boss for this as well, and killing that boss is going to get you points in the... we don't actually have to go there, but we'll get you points for the
audience with the King of the Mist.
For that league. So that's one of the other grinds as well. Right, next up we'll talk about Delirium. So in Delirium maps, your mind is going to be infected by a mysterious entity known as Tang Mizzou. You see these mirrors, and when you go through them, it kind of affects your mind and starts creating all these nightmare creatures, as well as affecting, kind of giving these strange things for other monsters as well.
I really hope I one day get the opportunity to go to an event like this and experience it and give my feedback.
So there's the Delirium right there.
Wow.
Your life will end, and you...
So as you can see, it infects your mind, and you get this like mysterious mist that goes to the area. It both spawns new monsters as well as affecting the existing monsters in interesting ways. Now the main thing you're going to be looking for in this league are called distilled emotions. Hopefully one drops and we can have we can show you what they do. But if not, we've got one in the inventory.
Distilled emotions.
Now, if you're able to keep up with this mechanic, then you might be able to cover the entire map in it, in which case you can get some bonuses on map bosses as well.
Hell yeah! We do need to figure out a build that's just a super zoom. I don't know what it's gonna be yet, but something.
Alright, so there's some distilled emotions. We have distilled ire and distilled paranoia.
Distilled paranoia.
Now, what this allows you to do is craft mods onto your amulet that grant you passives from your passive tree. So if you open up the crafting window for that, so effectively, if you put your amulet in there, then if you do a combination of 3 different distilled emotions, then it will allow you to get a bonus passive.
I really liked it. Took a bunch of features from different mechanic and mashed it all up and made it a little bit more themed around stuff that makes more sense to like gain from the mechanic. So that is really, I really like that.
What's it called? The notable from the passage tree. Sorry, I'm getting a little. It's going through a lot here.
And this used to be the blight situation, and now I do like the blight mechanic. It's super fun and it's really like awesome. The only problem is when you're juicing the maps like crazy. It's a frame killer. It murders my PC completely. Like Blight Ravager maps with like 260, 300 quant or some shit like that is impossible to complete because it just bricks the PC completely. It can't show anything that's happening. Everything just bugs the fuck out because it's so demanding with all the towers and stuff. So they haven't really talked about bringing back Blight or anything, but I'm just hoping to God if they do decide to bring back the Blight mechanic, that they nerf the visuals a little bit so it's not nearly as demanding on the graphic card and the PC and the RAMs and all the fucking stuff that just takes a absolute shitter when you go in a Ravage Blight map that's overly juiced. I personally cannot do that. Like my build has the damage to do it. It's no problem. I can easily kill the enemies. I just can't stay in the map for longer than like a couple of seconds before it just completely bugs out and just kicks me out. Crashes the game, and I have to relaunch the game and go back in there, and it does the exact same thing again. So this is I hope that they really look into that and kind of like adjust it in a way where it's not going to be nearly as crazy.
Bonus notable on the passage.
And by the way, I don't have a bad PC or anything. That's not really the problem. It's just that it's really demanding, and I have super high internet, and this is like a pretty new PC. It's like 6 months old, a little bit more. But I made sure to buy one that was like a very high quality. Still, it's a little bit on the rough end when it gets to getting pushed to the maximum, right?
That one's quick recovery. 40% increased stun and block recovery, regenerate 10% of life over 1 second when stunned. Now, once again, this is a type of player power you only get from here, but you can also use them on maps as well. So if you put them on maps, then it allows you to add bonus mods to the map in addition to the rare mods that you can normally get. So it's another form of juicing that you can do for in-game as well.
Oh, hell
right, so
yes.
That is Delirium. Now, all of these different mechanics from the different in-game grinds kind of can be added with each other. If you open up the map, you can kind of start to add multiple mechanics overlapping with those towers. You can juice maps with, the thing like mechanic we just said. You're allocating points in the Atlas tree. Effectively, altogether, it allows you to really boost from the bottom of the Atlas to the top of the Atlas to really improve the content that you're doing to the point that it can get pretty crazy. But there is one more. In-game grind, which I'm not going to really talk too much about, but it relates to that.
I don't know if I understood that right, because that might have just answered the question I asked before. If you could like keep stacking them inside of the same tower, I feel like that just. If I understood it right, that's exactly what he just said. That you can basically just add a breach to your tower. It adds the breaches on your Atlas, and then you take the whatever else you have, you put it on, and it adds all the rituals, and now I put another one on, it adds the delirium. that is insane. If that's how it works.
That little
Good.
object there. So effectively, this is
Oh.
where the Uber pin.
The monolith node -15 -1 map Uber bus underscore monolith. Within lies power beyond comprehension. Brother, that sounds like a
Pinnacle bosses,
place we
and
gotta
we
go.
can travel to the entrance, but we won't be able to actually get in because we don't have meet the requirements yet. But effectively, there are around the map various ways to get keys to be able to enter this area. It's kind of mysterious, and this is the hardest content in the game. So when you play the game, you'll have to try it out. But effectively, inside this area, you'll don't actually go in there. Inside there, you'll be able to fight the Uber Pinnacle boss as well.
Oh, he's having a hard time not doing it. You see that? He really want to go in there right the fuck now and just spoil the whole thing.
And for the sort of hardest challenge in the game, that is something that I think.
Oh,
is
it's
really
gonna
enjoyable.
be good when he's like that. It's like, oh, I really wanted to.
So this is a sort of basic overview of how the end game works. There was quite a lot of information there, quite a lot of sequels to leagues from PoE1 as well. But you can sort of see, I guess, the beginnings of a system that we're going to be expanding a lot over time. As we add more of these PoE1 league sequels, and as we add more content that leagues to PoE2, we've effectively got a lot of space here to be able to add as much to this in-game as possible. The Atlas tree with all its different little, what you might call, you know, the ascendancy kind of cluster type things for all the different content. All of these things, adding all of these things, we're going to add one every time we add a league to effectively allow you to scale this stuff. So that means that there is a large
So exactly what I
capability
said
to have
then.
a lot of content here. So
Hell yeah.
that sort of shows you, I guess, as a quick rundown of the content in early access. Even though it is early access, there's a lot of content here. There's a lot to do in in-game. There's the campaign plus the crawl version of the first half of the campaign plus the crawl version of the campaign. And all of that is, I guess, going to be coming out on December 6th. So how do you get access? Well, the answer is to that is that we're going to be releasing a bunch of supporter packs in the relatively near future when we announce all this content. And the lowest supporter pack, the $30 one, contains a key to get access to the early access for part of
But no
XL2.
Kiwi bird,
So
baby.
if you buy one of those, you'll both get points, which you can use to spend to buy, whatever it is in the cosmetic store that you want to buy, as well as get access to PoE2. And any of our existing supporters who have spent more than, I think it's around $500,
GGG, please add a skeleton Kiwi bird to the $30 one and call it bare bones. I feel like that is such a missed opportunity.
easily the highest tier supporter pack in the past. We'll also get access for free as well. So we're expecting to, because effectively, it is a game the size of most retail games that come out. We would expect like a pretty significant number of players to be able to play, but there's still a lot of work for us.
What, Jonathan? What you have shown so far is not a normal game, size-wise. This is 5x what Diablo 4 is. It's 10x or 50x what Diablo 2 is. My guy is underplaying it like crazy. He is really underselling it in terms of fucking how much it's. Wow, that's just crazy to me.
For us to do. Obviously, we've got a lot more content to add, a lot more
What?
things to do, there's.
I just now paid attention to this. So he is currently sitting on that level 95 monk, right? And I was kind of saying like it looks a little bit slow. It doesn't look like super like crazy. Now that I'm looking at his character, it dawns on me that he's not even wearing a good belt because he only got one charm unlocked. So I'm now starting to feel like, yeah, he might be level 95, but he might just be wearing level like 60 is gear, like end of campaign type gear, right? Just because he doesn't have 3 slots here, he doesn't like. Yeah, I'm starting to think that this might not be a fully decked out build. It's probably just got the bare bones of what it's needing in order to be able to kill stuff. That would be my thought process here after looking at it real quick and like kind of thinking it over.
By the time we're finished, I'm hoping that PoE2 will be, as we get to release, will feel like it's as large as PoE1 is easily. But yeah, that's all we have for you today, and hopefully you enjoyed it. So thank you very much.
He went, bro. He said, "We hope that the game is as big as PoE1 on the day it releases." What the fuck, bro? Jesus Christ! If it's as big as PoE1 when it releases, that is, whew, that is insane. That is a whole lot of content, man. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. What a fucking presentation. Holy smokes, there's a lot of things happening now. Yeah. Like, I am stoked. I'm so impressed. This is setting a new standard for the business. This is setting a new standard for what's considered release ready, right? And what's considered a polished and finished game. Because, like, this, bro, this is so above and beyond anything we could have ever asked for. And maybe there is a couple of people out there who play PoE1 for a long, long time who's a little bit sad that they implemented PoE1 league mechanics and stuff like that instead of making something unique to the game and not having anything to do with PoE1. I promise you guys, that's not what you want. You want to have an X amount of familiarity and nostalgic within the game, and then you want something that's new and inventive and different, right? But cutting everything that had to do with the prequel, like doing like Diablo 3 did to Diablo 2, just absolutely not using anything that had to do with Diablo 2, not graphics, not feel like the aesthetics, not even no weapons, no nothing like that, right? Like there's nothing in Diablo 3 that gives you the Diablo 2 vibes. They didn't expand on their on the ideas that they already had created for that game. This feels like they took PoE1 and they were like, okay, what makes sense? What doesn't make sense? What do we need to move around here and flip and make some new stuff too and expand on and maybe cut a little bit off of this and then to create a game that has a familiar feeling but is new and exciting and inventive and explorative and revolutionary and expanding and incredible. Like this is it's I'm lost for words in this is I get why Rod Ferguson is salty now, like honestly, because if you were to if you have to compete with this and your product is the way I view this is he's driving around in a fucking 1990 Ford Focus or fucking something like that, while PoE is riding around in a 2024 Lamborghini Urus or something like that. Like that's the difference right there. This is like not even in the same conversation or in the same. It's so far from each other in terms of content, in terms of thought processes, in terms of finishing products, in terms of polishing, like in terms of inventive. Like they are insanely inventive. I love this shit. I don't have anything bad to say as of right now. Like that might change when I play the game. That I might find something I don't find as greatly made as what they're presenting it to be right now. But if it's anything like what they have shown us, bro, it's over, man. I would consider this the new standard of ARPGs, and if you're gonna put out an ARPG and you're gonna slack on it and you're not gonna basically pump the content out in a way where it's digestible and you feel like coming back to it, then you're probably gonna shoot yourself so hard in the foot and be. If they're spending another 10 years making another Diablo game, I don't see that being a success. If PoE has 10 years to develop this, and they're gonna keep every they're gonna keep giving us new leagues, new mechanics, new items, new everything constantly, right? Multiple times every year. And if they keep expanding like this, bro, how the fuck are you gonna compete with that? If you're not doing the same thing, and they clearly aren't doing the same thing with Diablo, like, at all. The worst part about it is the amount of lying and stuff that went down, the amount of people they paid off to give them massively high ratings, right? So, for instance, there on YouTube there is a commercial for Diablo 4, the Vessel of Hatred, or at least it was running as it came out, where it said like all of these IGN and all of these different critics all gave that game like 8 or 9 out of 10, which I feel personally like, yo, you paid those people to say that. There's no fucking way any person with a like a just a little bit of brain power and a little bit of understanding of what's possible and stuff is gonna give that game any type of over mid ratings, right? Like, in my opinion, it's maybe a 4 out of 10 at best. So the fact that they all like these 10-15 different places that's super famous for criticizing games, or like giving assigning ratings to games and stuff, they all agreed that this was a 9 or 8 out of 10. Bro, there's no way there's like that much agreeance over. There's nobody has their own opinion. Is that what, like, they all just went? I feel like Blizzard actually made that, right? Like, Blizzard gave themselves the rating, they gave themselves they told them what they needed to say about the game, and then they basically just copy pasted it and put it out there, right? That's what it feels like to me. And I have not seen that mentality from PoE. They're doing it the opposite way. Instead of getting others to say the game is good, they're just showing you the game and showing you how great it actually is. And there is none of this other bullshit that just makes no fucking sense. Or there's no like trying to dupe you into buying the game because you're only getting a 25. You can only go to level 25 in the beta, right? So you don't actually get to see the game. You don't get to really experience it, because if I still think, or I'm still convinced, if they had done that with Diablo 4 and opened it up so you could go all the way to endgame, a lot of people wouldn't have bought it, because it's just not enough in there, right? And it's not to shit on Diablo, because I've already shit on that game multiple times. Diablo 4 and Diablo 3. Let me rephrase. I've already shit on those two games like a fucking massive amount because of the situations, and yeah, I just feel like they're missing out big time. They could have done a lot more. I'm not saying they should do something that's as complex and as extreme as PoE is, but I'm saying what you did was like the absolute minimum of what you can do to actually call it a game. Like, there's not a lot happening, man. And PoE 1 alone has probably 1,000 times the content of Diablo 4. If that, I don't even think 1,000% is enough. I think it might be even more. Yeah, so that's my take on it. What a great fucking presentation. I am so ready. I want to go to sleep right now. Just sleep till it comes out, man. So I don't have to actually wait. But yeah, and this is wild. This is so crazy to me that they went above and beyond. If you like the video, please leave a like, a comment, subscribe, and all that good jazz. And if you want to stay tuned for the PoE2 journey, make sure to tune in once the early access releases, because I will be streaming that shit every day. And I will be going extremely hard. I'm going to take some time off from everything. Like, I'm gonna tell everybody I know I'll be going into to hibernation for a month or something like that. So don't call me. Don't do nothing. I'm not here. That's literally, I'm gonna be living inside of this for a month straight. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. But yeah, that's it for me. Have a extremely good day. Have a good evening, whatever it is for you, and I will catch you all in the next one.